So I want to first jump into this first thing that a lot of us women do. I think this starts usually around teenage to young adult. And a lot of these cycles of toxicity start through mean girl behavior. There's a lot of mean girl culture that is not really spoken about, but is participated among women. And mean girl culture is pretty much where you're creating bonds and friendships through toxicity. And a lot of the toxicity is based on grown women bullying, gossiping, and anything traumatic that has happened surrounding men in relationships. So it is the only time where we pretend like we can relate to one another when everything is down, right? Oh, girl, he did that to you. You know, men ain't nothing. You know, cheating talking points. You know, anything abusive, anything anti-male. We find a way to come together and talk about that. And we could talk about that all night. We could talk about it for weeks, months, years. And it's never really anything positive about men. Even if you've had positive experiences, for some reason, you know, the negative experiences kind of, because they're juicier stories and the drama is a lot more detailed and it's more dramatic. And we get an opportunity to, you know, just talk about how, you know, he ain't nothing. And after a while, it becomes redundant. It becomes draining. And in all honesty, it does not do anything for healing beyond any type of bad relationship. We just find a kiki about it. We joke about it. We talk about how terrible he is and how men ain't this and that and da-da-da-da. But very seldomly do we really dissect these patterns to see that if I'm going from poor relationship to poor relationship, abuse to abuse, any kind of abuse, emotional, psychologically, physically, or what have you, consistently, there may be a pattern of behavior that I need to examine within myself that may be attracting that to me. It's not necessarily meaning that you're victim blaming yourself, but there may be something that I'm doing to attract that type of behavior. And if I am not doing anything, I may just be a woman who comes from a background where I had abusive parents or I was in an abusive environment and it looked normal. So I didn't notice when there was an unhealthy pattern of behavior. So usually as women, we don't say, hey girl, let's sit down and really dissect why we keep going through the same cycles of abuse. We just talk about it. We talk down on the guy, and then we find ourselves 6 months later, 3 months later, sometimes it'd be that short, 3 months, 6 months, a year later with another person, but with the same spirit. And here we go, going through that up and down thing again, finding ourselves in another cycle. And then a lot of times we cut our friend off when we're going through this happy moment. We don't even prioritize her until their relationship is on a downslope. So I really do think as women, we need to examine that. Why do we feel the need to only come together when it's always something bad happening with a relationship? Falling out with your girlfriend instead of seeking clarity, or instead of you trying to figure out why there's a miscommunication. We don't give each other grace. We just immediately take her creating space personal. You don't check in on her to see what's going on. You just think she's acting funny when that woman could really be going through hell, and you take her personal space as an opportunity to be catty, be envious, be low down and dirty, and go to your other friends and drag her through the mud and talk about how she's acting funny because she's not around, instead of y'all checking in on her or sending her a care package or sending her a letter, a kite, or an email and saying, hey, we haven't seen you. I hope all is well. Whenever you get an opportunity, you know, to come back around again, we hope we get an opportunity to talk to you. We hope that you're okay. We hope that you're alive. We're praying for you. But instead of doing that, we immediately take her personal space as an offense, and we click together, isolate her way much more than where she probably is isolated. And then we just kind of target her in a way, but not in her face, not outright. We just fall back from her as she's falling back from us, and create an enemy when there was not an enemy. I think that is something that we really do need to examine. What happened to us as women where we have become so broken inside, to the point where we don't show each other the empathy, the grace, and the compassion to really check in on each other the way we should, beyond all of these dramatics. So we really do need to look into that when it comes to this mean girl culture. And then the other one that I wrote here for mean girl culture, gossip, toxic gossiping. Personally speaking, I don't do that anymore. When I was a teenager and a young adult, I did participate in gossip. I didn't, maybe nobody would believe me. I didn't know that what I was doing was wrong. I didn't know that it was unhealthy. It was just a cultural thing. It's just a part of your conditioning where, you know, these little catty remarks about stuff about people, whether it is the way they choose to wear their hair or the way they choose to have a certain interest or hobby that you don't understand, or even if it is their relationship preferences or whatever, we will smile in that person's face and girl, yeah, and then, you know, we'll get along, one or two of us, and we'll be like, oh girl, you see that? And we don't know that that type of energy, we're not doing it directly to that person's face, but they can feel it. I don't know how other people believe, but I believe it. I believe that when you negatively put your mouth on people, it could affect them in the spirit without them physically being there. Talking down on a person is manifesting bad energy on them. I do believe that. And out of the tongue is life and death. And I believe that if you really like a person, genuinely like them, and really want the best for them, even if you don't understand who they are, like their personality, their quirkiness, maybe they're different, and, you know, we're not all a monolith, but you don't understand it, instead of drawing a conclusion, just ask them. You know, I mean, I've gone through many different phases of my life. I've never liked the same music style. I've never had the same look, you know, consistently throughout my life. I'm different also, too, because of, for me, physically, because, you know, there's so much pressure on women physically in this society. But physically, I'm an amputee almost, I think it's 26, almost 27 years or something. I lose count because it's been so long. But that alone creates me to be an outcast in the physical sense, where I have to have some type of self-acceptance and I have to have some type of confidence within myself to not allow the pressures of society to make me feel less than or inadequate. So if you see your friend or this person that you want to be a friend, you may like their personality, you may like that they're confident in spite of the things that they've gone through, or I must say this is a part of the toxic part. Or you only want to befriend that person. Yes, they may be cute. Yes, they may be intelligent. Yes, they may have a good personality. But there may be something about them where there's a prejudice. Because this is not talked about a lot either. Because you see this racially too. If the person is uniquely different, and even though they're confident and they accept themselves, you may have a prejudice about their difference. And because they're different in some way or another, it makes you feel like you're better than them because they may have a difference. And so there's a part of you that feel like, oh, I'm better than them. So you'll befriend them in one way because you have a prejudice about that thing that makes them different, thinking that they'll make you look better because you feel like there's something less than about them. But when you get around them and other people get around them, people may gravitate towards them more than you, even though you feel like there's something different. Like, okay, let's say I'll just use an example because some people won't be honest. Let's say if it's the only black girl in the group and everybody else is a different ethnicity, but she's a pretty woman and everything like that. But in the culture or in the environment where you guys are, that's not the standard of beauty. So you may allow her to become a part of the friend group, you know, but there's a part of you that feel like you're better because she's the black girl. And when you guys go out and things of that nature, she has a tendency to get more attention than you. And you may feel some kind of way because she's supposed to be the black girl and she's not supposed to be getting any attention. or as much attention as she gets, because she's not the standard of beauty. And so as women, we may not say anything right away, but we will internalize that, and then we'll start acting funny towards her in a passive aggressive way, especially around men. This is a part of that mean girl culture. Whenever we go out or something, or we're around men, we have a tendency to zoom in on the little things that you think are flaws, to try to lessen or dim down her attractiveness, or to make her appear less appealing. But a lot of things that a lot of these women who have this type of mentality don't understand is men are not stupid. Men understand when you are insecure. Men also know when you have low self-esteem. And men also, even if you're doing all of that, trying to pick out all of her flaws and maximize them to make her less attractive, or to try to make men see or perceive her differently, it's going to make them more curious. Because if there's more than one woman saying nasty things about a woman who minds her business, who has, attractiveness about her, but you're trying to lessen her, especially if she's like related to you, or she's supposed to be your best friend, or she even works with you and you talk to her, but when you're behind her back, you're saying nasty things about her to make men look at her differently, they're going to want to get to know her even more. They're going to think you're a hater. And they're not going to say it about you, but it's going to make you look less attractive, and it's going to make her look more attractive. So a lot of times the mean girl culture can work against you. So I think something needs to be said about trying to heal that brokenness within us, where we're not trying to put other women down to make ourselves feel better. Because I'm being 100% honest. After I healed as a teenager beyond like that catty little kiki thing, because I'm like, that's not right. It makes me feel bad to try to kiki. And then it made me feel like a coward to talk and laugh with you. And then when you away, here this person is, throwing little jabs at you. And I'm right there just laughing like, I think that's cowardice. I don't think that that's right. So I stopped doing that a long time ago. And if I was around a woman and she was like that, I had to ease myself away from that, because I think that's phony, that's fake. And I think that's very negative to talk about your friends but act like you wish them well in their face when you really wish them misery so you can have something to talk about. I don't think that's right. The other thing I wanted to talk about was the trauma bonding. We only want to bond when we're down and out. And I said this at the beginning of the show. If it's bad relationships, oh girl, they ain't, ends ain't shit. Oh, girl, these men this. Oh, girl, these men that. Just sitting on the phone all day talking about how men ain't nothing. I'm over it. I don't want to hear it, because I've had some healthy relationships in the midst of abusive relationships. I've had some healthy relationships, and I like men, and I'm attracted to men of a certain caliber, of course, but I don't have a lot of negative things to say about anybody, not even men, because I'm a heterosexual woman. I'm healthy minded, and I desire men. So I don't want to sit up on the phone and talk about how men ain't nothing all day. It's just, after a while, it's redundant and it is counterproductive. But we do that. We trauma bond. And the only time we come together and talk to each other is when we're going through. But when it comes to businesses, school, jobs, parenting, our children, just trying to be productive, we're MIA. The conversations are short. Oh, girl, I'm gonna call you back. Or we don't talk to each other for months. I don't think that is healthy when we are only willing to talk when we're down and out, because it makes it seem like we're so broken as women that we only want to see each other down and out so we can have something to talk about, either to each other or to other people, about our loved ones, friends and family members that we say we love and we care about. I think that is very, very negative. And when we ain't doing bad, we're not talking. I don't think that's right. When all things are going bad, you in the light. And when everything is going good for your friend, you in the dark. That is not a friend. And if you are doing that, that is something that you really need to examine. Why am I always on the scene when all hell is breaking loose in my friend's life? But when she is on an upward trajectory and things are working out for her and God is coming through for her, Why am I not coming through for her too? What is wrong with me to where I don't want to see her in a better place in life? Especially if you know your friend's heart. You know, why you don't want to see her catch a break in life? Like, what is going on? That's something that you really do have to examine. The trauma bonding. Because we can be friends outside of talking about trauma and only kick in because it's a trauma bond thing. And when we're not having trauma, we can't relate. I think that is something that we have to really, really heal from. And then the next one is toxic competition. Oh, Lord. This one-upping thing, it got to stop. It's not like even blatant, but it's blatant, right? When you don't like someone, because I don't understand this. I don't understand being around people to keep your enemies close. I don't understand that, because why are they your enemy? That's number one. Why is this person your enemy? Why? What did they do to you? For real. What did they do to you to make you an enemy? Did they betray you? Did they sleep with your daddy? Did they sleep with your man? What did they? Did they steal your money? Did they break into your home? What did they do? Because to me, an enemy has to create an offense to be my enemy. At least for me. I don't know about nobody else. But you have to do something. Then I will classify you as an enemy. But for you to just not like a person because of their personality, or you grew apart, or special interests they have, or whatever, or you don't understand them after a while, but then you still have them around you, hoping on an opportunity to finally show your hand, is weird behavior that needs to be examined. And I really do mean, like, it's so dangerous that you may have to go sit and talk to someone. Because if they did not create an offense, why are you deciding to make them an enemy? It's something inside of you that has to be examined. And then having them around for years, knowing that you just don't like them. It's okay to not care for a person's mentality or their personality. It's okay. Create distance and go on with your life. You have the right to live your life separately. If you grew up together and you no longer see eye to eye, or they chose a different lifestyle and you guys can't relate anymore, it's okay to go about your business and act like they don't exist anymore. Let them live in peace and you live in peace. But that doesn't mean that they're an enemy because you grew apart. I will never understand it. But then to just sit there and watch this person year after year, waiting on the opportunity to present itself. And I said this before, it's very cowardice, very calculated, very malicious. It's filled with so much malice and even borderline evil, to just sit around and wait for a day to come where you think that they're going to be down, and now I can pull off the glove. Now I can take the mask off, and now I can just dogpile on this person. So that can mean, like, they could lose a family member. They can lose a dog. They can lose a job. They can lose their home or whatever. They're just going through a hard time at the moment. It's a seasonal thing for them, just like everyone has their seasons of hardships. So when they really go through something traumatic and they really need you to be there, that's the time when you decide, I'm not going to be there, right? All the time you had them on your friends list and stuff, but this person may go through a bad breakup, or they may lose a family member and you decide to unfriend them. Like, this is the time where I'm going to stab them even though they're already hurting. Kick them while they're down. Because if I do that, maybe they'll never get up again. I don't know what goes on in the minds of people, but I know as people who have dealt with betrayal, traumas, and stuff like that, the people who you thought were going to be there and love you through some of the most hardest times in your life, through different life transitions, showed their true colors when you really needed them the most. It can be very hard to navigate beyond that pain, because you would have never did that to them. It's like, I would have never did you like that. Like, why you do me like that? And you would stay stuck for a minute, like just stunned and in awe, because it's not that you don't believe that human beings have the capacity to do that or to be so dark. It's that you may have known that person all your life. You may have peeped some things, but because you project your goodness on people, you don't believe that people can be so heartless. And when they show you how heartless they can be, it is hard to believe. You're like, damn, not you. Like, I could expect it from someone else, but not you. And a lot of people don't talk about how friendships between women, it's a different kind of heartbreak. When I tell you that breaking of your heart is so long, it's a long process to really get over how hurt you are, because that's like a sister to you. If it's a friend, like a good friend you know, had in your life mostly your whole life or something, or a female that you was really close to most of your life, and you wanted the best for her, you thought y'all was gonna grow up and do this together and do that together, and then you become an adult and that person turns out to not be anything like you thought they were. That is so painful. It is almost worse than a heartbreak from a man. At least it was for me. Okay? And it took a long time for me to really process it. Like, damn, not you, girl. Like, I loved you. I wish the best for you. You and your family, you and your kids. I really wanted, you know, things to really, you know, go right for you. I wanted you to be successful, prosperous in everything you did. But you didn't want the same for me. What happened to you? Or were you always like that? And so, you know, it was just a very hard thing for me in particular, I could say, just trying to get over a friendship heartbreak or a female bonding heartbreak, because I know how much I love that person, and to find out like they didn't like me that whole time. Wow. Damn, that hurt. But we live, we learn, and we go past our naivety and gullibility, and we get to see that, you know, there are highs and lows to people, but you just wish you didn't have to feel the pain of it all. But I think that's a part of life, and we heal and we go on. And we learn how to choose our friends wisely and be as selective as we possibly can, at least. This one-upping when it comes to men is very weird. Now, when you are a secure woman within yourself, outside of just relationships with men, you don't allow your relationship to define you as a woman. A healthy relationship is just the icing on the cake. When it comes to men, whether it be boyfriends, whether it be fiancés or husbands, if God bless you with a good man, whatever that means to you, you know, good is relative, you know, but if God bless you with a man who really, you know, means well for your life, I'm happy for you. Like, I really am happy for you, because I think that as women, I love women, healthy-minded women, okay? And so when I see a woman being loved on, I'm very happy for you. And it's well within your rights for you to have privacy and for you to prioritize what we have in the midst of whatever you have with your family and your relationship too. And so I respect your boundaries. And so when it comes to you being loved on, you deserve that. But you have a lot of women who are just not happy with themselves. And so when their girlfriend or their friend girl, she has a man who looks, I ain't saying that he is, but who looks like he's loving on her, right? And he's taking good care of her. You know what a broken woman says? She says, who she thinks she is? You know, got this man over there buying her stuff, taking her out, doing this, doing that. You know, she thinks she better than somebody. She thinks she this, she thinks she that. I'm going to test him. I'm going to see if the games begin with broken women. You'll have a man, you may show your man, like social media now, people show everything. I don't know why we do this, but we do. You'll post your man, you'll tag your man, and as soon as you tag that man, that woman will go secretly follow that man. Watch everything he posts. Won't say a word, won't interact or nothing. May not even tell you that she is following your man. Maybe following that man under a private page, because that is how toxic some women can be. And just watching him, waiting for an opportunity to test your man. It depends on how close you guys are. If it's like a friend group or something like that, if she could ever get in close proximity of that man, like I said, sometimes if it's a close friends group, these women would just drop seeds of stuff from high school stuff from back in the day, years ago, about you to try to embarrass you in front of your man, to make that man look at you differently. These women will do that. Oh yeah, I remember we was back in the day, try to make you seem like you're loose and you're this and you're that and all of this stuff to try to make your man look at you differently. Or if she knows you're into something, she may start trying to mirror you for your man. Okay, this is a real thing. Oh, she wear her. Okay, let me do that. It's okay to wear your hair in a certain way. It's okay to do your nails a certain way. It's okay to dress a certain way. It's okay to be into certain things. Nothing wrong with that. But when you're morphing yourself into another woman to attract her man, that's toxic competition, because you are looking for an opportunity to take something from her, because it's not that you don't think she deserves it. You think you deserve something like that, but instead of you praying to God for something like that, you want that. That is sick. That is toxic. That is not healthy. Or you see she got good kids and you wishing bad on her kids. You see she has a nice home. You see she has this. You see she has that, and you're wishing bad on her because either you don't have it or you desire it, but you don't want to put in the work to get it, and you don't know what that woman had to go through for God to bless her in a season of her life with all of these beautiful blessings, and you are bitter about it, and you're praying on her downfall, but you in her face. That is toxic. And I really hope and pray that we can heal beyond those types of things. Another thing on the negative before we jump into the positive, because we got to go with the bad before the good, is intentional betrayal to destroy each other's happiness. The plotting and the scheming on one another. You know, and I don't know how sinister that can get, but we watch the news all the time. And we see stories on the news, like the Shanquilla Robinson story and others, where these people will go through great lengths to hurt physically a person that they don't like. When the admiration turns to jealousy, and then the jealousy turns to envy, then the plotting begins. And the plotting and the scheming and the calculations can get so sinister, where you can set your friend up to be hurt. You can set her to be R-word. You just set her up for misfortunes in life. And that is so evil. And we are in a world right now where, unfortunately, you got to be careful about the people that you have close to you, because as we are evolving individually as people and we're becoming unrecognizable to people that knew us, old versions of us, they can take it personal, and they can take it as a personal offense and insult, like you're trying to do something to them, even though you're doing positive things for you. And so I don't know who it was, but it was a sister that said, oh, and it was a beautiful video. I got to find it. She says that, why would you want to clip their wings? You know, like as you are soaring and going beyond these old versions of yourself, people take offense to that, and they want to wage war against you for choosing yourself and trying to be better and trying to live positive and trying to do stuff for you. But they want to clip your wings as you are flying beyond old versions of you. And it has nothing to do with them. And so when we're in those type of situations, do not be so oblivious to what people can do when they are envious and jealous of your personal growth. If a person will rage war because you choose yourself and you want better from you, that is someone that really needs mental help. And that is not an insult. That is the truth. You need help. If you are intentionally looking for ways to plot and hurt another person who's minding their business and they're on their purpose, you need to go get some help. For real. As a woman to woman, get some help. Because that can spill over into your daughters. Like if you are a woman who hate other women for minding their business and doing whatever they need to do for them, you're going to feel the same way about your daughters. As your daughters are growing and becoming womanly, you're going to nitpick at your daughters and start competing with your own babies if you don't get some help, because it's not healthy. Okay? And so that is the last part of the negativity, breaking those negative toxic cycles. And the positive stuff. Ways to build strong bonds and be more productive in our friendships. I wrote a little list here, and I hope that these talking points will help us as we grow beyond all of these negative cycles, dysfunctional friendships. So the number one would be respecting each other's right to privacy and sacredness. You as a woman, as an adult woman, you have the right to your privacy. I'm your friend. I'm not your pastor. I'm not your lover. I'm not your child. I'm just a friend. I'm an extension of your network, an extension of your village and your tribe. But you don't owe me every part of your life. If you decide to share something with me, fine. If you don't, I don't take offense to that. That is perfectly fine. You have the right to keep things that are valuable to you, especially in a world like this. But when you decide to bring me into your world for other positive things, I'm thankful and I thank God for you. And you my girl. But you deserve your own privacy when it comes to your own life. The next one, supporting each other's endeavors and accomplishments and achievements. So we may not be in the same industry, we may not be in the same field, but you may have things that you are striving towards. And guess what? I'm rooting for you. If it's positive, it's not detrimental to society, you need to go out there and do that. You need to stay focused on it, and I'm not going to be a distraction to what you got going on. We'll get up when we have time. And when we don't, we don't. There's a young lady on here who I've networked with her a couple of times, and she is so beautiful, and I root for her all the time. And I thank her for supporting me too. But we were going to do something, and we could not come together and do it because the time and the scheduling would not permit it. And guess what? She hit me up and said, well, unfortunately, I have a lot of other stuff on schedule, and I don't want to commit to so many things at one time where I can't come through. Instead of saying yes to all of this stuff, I'm just going to have to hold off on that particular thing we were going to work on until a later date. And I told her, thank you for being forthright and being honest. We'll get up when we get up. And I wish you much success on your endeavors. And she wished me the same. But that is a healthy person. Those are healthy people. We're not taking it personal. It's not a personal thing. And so if you about to graduate, I'm coming to that graduation. Whatever it is. I'm coming to that graduation with balloons and the whole nine. Because you deserve good things in life. But you have to be healthy-minded and secure and confident within yourself to wish your friend well and to be there for her when she is going through good times in her life and not just bad times. So the next thing is investing in one another through positive affirming and financially sowing seeds in each other's dreams. I don't think it's support if you not affirming it. If you ain't coming through and saying, yes, girl, clapping and cheering me on, you're not my friend. If I'm not on that front line, it don't have to be every game. It doesn't have to be everything. But if I can make it, I'm going to make it. If I can be there, I'm going to be there. If you post up a picture and I know you look bomb, and I'm talking about bomb, I'm going to be down there cheering you on. I'm not going to see the post, pretend like I don't see the post. Then you post it in your stories and I'm right there on the story. Looking at the story like this. Now that girl done posted up that beautiful picture, but you didn't hit the like, you didn't hit the love, you didn't even say anything to your friend in her comments on the post, but you in a story like this. Every story. But don't never cheer her on. That is not a friend. And so positive affirming is a part of healthy friendships and female dynamics. And then financially sowing a seed. If she got something going, you don't have to have a whole lot of money, but just throw a little something on it. Support her. Buy something from her. If she's selling something, instead of you going to buy it from somebody else or going to buy it from a big commercial store, why are you not purchasing it from your friend? I don't understand that. We have to be there for one another, and we have to enforce positive affirming through supporting one another, even financially. The other one is praying for each other through challenging times. Pray for your friend. You know, like instead of talking about her business, which really to me ain't business because everybody go through things. Pray for her. And I really do mean, like, don't tell a person, oh, I'm praying for you. No. Get on that phone. Get on FaceTime. Bow your head. Come together in agreement and pray your friend out of her situation. A real friend, like I've done for a good friend of mine. I fasted 2 days. I fasted 2 days to pray my friend off of some strongholds. 2 days. I went without food for my friend. That's what kind of friend I am. I never talked about her business because it ain't nothing to tell. Everybody got a blue story. What the hell? You know, there's nothing to tell. Oh, yeah, girl. Ooh. Everybody got something. We all go through things. That is not no big news. I'ma pray you through this season of your life. And we gonna make sure that you don't go through that again through another season by positively doing what we need to do through prayer, through meditation, through going to the gym together, through pampering ourselves together, whatever we need to do to offset that energy and to balance each other out, because that's what friends do. That's what we do. And we wish the best. You going through a tough time in your marriage? It depends on what the dude doing. It depends on what he's doing. But if he's not really doing nothing to where he's hurting you for real, like really badly, but y'all just going through a tough time, like maybe financially, maybe it's just whatever, communication issues, I'm going to pray through that situation with you. I pray that you and your family work through those hardships. And I pray that, because I'm pro-family, and I'm just being real, I'm pro-family. I believe that if you can work through things in your relationship, you should work through something in your relationship, because we're human beings and we're not going to always get it right. So I'm going to pray that you and your man get back on one accord. If that man ain't beating you and he not bringing you home no diseases and babies, y'all need to work that through. Y'all need to work through that. Get some counseling or something, but I'll be praying for you and your family, my sis. The last thing is respecting the sister code and understanding that some things are off limits and loyalty is expected. Let me say this again. Respecting the sister code and understanding that some things are off limits and loyalty is expected. For instance, if you know somebody don't like me for whatever their reasoning is, because everybody got their own perspectives. If you know someone don't like me and you chit-chatting with them, I got to cut you off. I got to cut you off because loyalty is expected. If I know somebody don't like you and I rock with you and I ask this person, well, what did they do to you? What did he do? What did she do to you? And you like, this and that, you coming up with all of these things. Okay, well, how can we form a meeting, get everybody presently here? Because we're grown. Are we grown or are we in high school? If we grown folks and we don't talk behind each other's back and it really is an issue, let's get everyone in the physical presence of one place and let's see if we can hash this through. We can hash through this. Or is it really you just creating a problem where it doesn't exist and you just trying to turn everybody against that person? And if that is the issue, I got to cut you off because I don't do mess. Life is too short. Life is too sacred to be wasting time and every good day that we breathe on some mess. Especially as women. Especially if you are women who have children. You ain't got no time to play around with your life. You don't have time. We got to break cycles. We got to break habits. We got to create positive traditions. Our children are deserving of that. We owe it to our families to be present. We don't have time for foolishness. And if that's what type of time you on, I got to cut you off. Or if I just know you just being messy towards my friend or you trying to just turn everybody against her, I got to cut you off. Because a friend to everyone is a friend to no one. And so in those situations, loyalty is expected. And when you decide that you want to be over there and then you want to act like you want to be over here too, I got to cut you off. I'm going to make a choice for you. I'm going to make you choose. And I wish y'all well in your endeavors because life is too sacred and it's too short to waste time pretending like we mean girls in high school. And it's not going to get us anywhere.